And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So of course we were back again in action yesterday in the league as we took on St Johnstone at McDermott Park and came out 3-1 victors in that match. Now, going into half-time, the first 45 minutes was very, very poor. It's probably the one of, or if not the worst first half performance I've seen from the boys so far this season, especially in domestic football. We were very, very poor, and of course at the break we were 1-0 down. Now, Brendan Rodgers was supposedly very angry going into half-time, and Callum McGregor, our skipper, admits that Rodgers' rage had shook the players. Rightfully so though, let's be honest. I mean, we were poor in the first half, and Rodgers had a few words to say at half-time to his players that were quite simply not performing in that game. So this is what Callum McGregor had to say with regards to kind of the half-time team talk. He didn't really go into specifics about what was said, but you can kind of get an idea of the tone that it was said and how angry Rodgers actually was. So McGregor said, "As a professional, you never want to be called soft. That will sit with the players in there 3, 4, 5 days a time, because nobody likes to get a sore one off the manager. We have to take it on the chin, and we deserved it. You never want to be soft. That's the one thing when you're a good football team and people try to look for areas to exploit. Then the last thing as a professional footballer you want to be called is soft. That hurt the group." Now, of course, some maybe harsh words or critical words there from Rodgers at half-time, calling the players soft. Regardless of what was said at half-time, it clearly worked and done well, because the second half we were night and day difference, much better, much more improved, and therefore got the 3 goals to seal that victory. Of course, I want to talk about Matt O'Reilly's goal in particular, absolutely spectacular. We kind of spoke about it earlier on today in our first video of the day. A potential goal of the season contender. Let us know what you make of that. I think so. It'll be hard to top that at some point this season. Very, very beautiful strike there from Matt O'Reilly, who's obviously probably still is one of the most informed players in the Celtic side right now. And a quick mention to Joe Hart, who's received a lot of stick in recent weeks for his performances, possibly rightfully so, but that save later on in that game when we were only 2-1 up was crucial in the outcome of the overall match and result. Of course, then 20 odd seconds later we went up the other end of the pitch and scored our third through James Forrest. So those two in particular I want to mention. Especially it's cool to see Joe Hart there making a big impact on that game after maybe a rough few weeks at the club. Of course, Joe Hart's future is one that we want to speak about in this video, because the January transfer window is approaching. A lot of talk's been about, will Celtic spend a lot of money due to the poor European, due to our poor European campaign this season, and a position I've personally mentioned I'd like to see improved is goalkeeper alongside left back as well. But Brendan Rodgers kind of spoke on the goalkeeping situation on Sunday. Obviously Joe Hart was very much central to the victory, making a crucial save at the depth of that game. And Rodgers basically revealed the spot between the sticks is not currently a pressing matter. He said, "It's not one for now. I want to improve the squad over my time here, and particularly over these next couple of windows." Now, of course, there's been a couple of names linked to the club for the goalkeeper position. Andrew Ludin for Real Madrid probably won't happen now, and of course previously Livkovic that played for Zagreb and now at Fenerbahce, so that's definitely not going to happen. But for me, despite that, sometimes it's a bit inconsistent performances from Joe Hart that does kind of frustrate you a little bit as to why maybe you want to see a new keeper join the club. But interesting to see that Rodgers is kind of backing his man a little bit, which is cool to see the loyalty there. But if he keeps up his performances like that, making crucial saves and really helping us get the victory, and obviously making those crucial saves, so be it. Sign a new contract and stay at the club. But I don't, obviously he's aging as well. I don't think he's going to be a first-team goalkeeper for the future, but maybe a good player to have in the squad, because he's very vocal. We've obviously know that from his time with England, Manchester City, and now Celtic as well. He's a very vocal player and a big character to have in the dressing room, regardless if he is a first-team player or not. He's somewhat a leader, really. So you kind of want to keep him in the team, really, to help the rest of the young players around, and possibly the new goalkeeper that comes in through the door. So we'll see what happens with regards to Joe Hart in the future in this January transfer window. His contract obviously is expiring at the end of this season, so therefore that adds fuel to the fire of his future and the speculation around that. Of course, the main story of today is that Celtic have laid groundwork for a January signing after a £41 million reveal. Celtic are unlikely to welcome an influx of January signings after being dumped out of the Champions League. This is obviously one of the reasons why this is kind of a talking matter. Are we going to invest heavily in January? But if you look at our DNA as Celtic, it's not really a thing we do in previous years, investing heavily in January. Of course, there's a big turnover in the summer at Celtic with 10 players coming in and 11 players leaving. So, of course, we can't say that players haven't joined the club under Rodgers. It's just a lack of quality, really, that a lot of fans are frustrated with, and even the manager himself. But nevertheless, it is believed that Brendan Rodgers' side does have the funds to get deals done should the right player become available in the winter window. I mean, we know that Celtic have money. We know that. We know the club are rich. Of course, they released the annual report last month detailing a pre-tax profit of almost £41 million in the 2022-23 campaign. But speaking according to Football Insider, the Parkhead side will not rush into any January deals this transfer window, which is frustrating again. It's making the hierarchy at Celtic more rich, and we are getting piss in the transfer window. But that's the way it has been for many years now. Of course, we are out of Europe, as you mentioned multiple times on the channel already. It's annoying to keep mentioning, but that is the harsh reality of the situation at Celtic right now. We lack quality in the major competitions. Of course, it just seems like the hierarchy are happy with where we're at now, domestically dominating, but still qualifying for the Champions League group stages. They're getting their money for it, the £30 million, whatever it may be, and then getting dumped out before Christmas. So it's an annoying situation. We'll of course have to wait to see if that money that we mentioned is going to be spent. I highly doubt we'll see many major signings. As long as there's one or two that are high quality and that can make an impact for the rest of the season, then so be it. That will definitely help us. As I mentioned, goalkeeper, left back are two positions that I want to see personally. Maybe another midfielder. But we'll see what happens, because anything can happen in football. But yes, as I said, our DNA as a football club doesn't look too promising when it comes to January deals. But yes, of course, Joe Hart's contract's expiring, so hopefully we can get a replacement for him. And of course, he's not been the best in recent weeks, despite a good performance yesterday. But let me know what you make of the situation at the club right now. Do you think we'll spend a lot of money this January? What was your overall thoughts on the performance yesterday? Do you think Matt O'Reilly's goal is a potential goal of the season contender? Let us know down in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.